Hey YouTube, how you guys doing? Hopefully you're having a good day. And this was an unplanned video, but I thought due to Earl Boen recently, hopefully I'm saying his last name correctly, he recently just passed, and he was the voice actor for the narrator for World of Warcraft, and it's crazy. I could recognize his voice, but I never really knew much about the actor. Um, I thought he was. I actually just thought he was a voice actor, but basically, I thought I would do a quick little intro about him, and then just I was going to go through the classic World of Warcraft, the 8 race starting narrations, and just listen to his voice and just watch those again because I haven't seen those in some of them I haven't seen in like 10, 15 years. So I thought, or listened to them. So yeah, first I thought I would just kind of look him up, Earl Bowen. It's crazy. I thought he was just a voice actor, but he actually did a lot of acting. It looks like he was in um, Terminator, Terminator 2, all the Terminators. I don't know what he did in those, but oh, the psychologist. There you go. Um, some other stuff. I didn't really know him for his movies. I definitely knew him for his voice acting in video games. Um, but yeah, let's go. And he unfortunately passed 2 days ago. So rest in peace, Earl Bowen. Um, And then I thought I would do, and then I looked in Wikipedia because I was more curious about the video games he was in, if I could recognize him for other games besides Warcraft. Um, so let's scroll down to there. Voice acting, G.I. Joe the movie, interesting. Oh, these are movies, films, animated films, animations. Oh, here we go, video games. The Curse of Monkey Island, never played that. Boulder's Gate, I don't know if I played this one, but I played one of the Boulder's Gates. Toy Story, interesting. Um, Let's see here. Star Trek, okay. Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance, I definitely played that one. That's the one I'm pretty sure I played. It's kind of more of a Diablo isometric game. Uh, Heart, no. X-Men Legends, I played that. Oh, he was Colossus. That's cool. I remember playing that. World of Warcraft narrator. That's where I really know him from. Of course, he was also King Tyrannus Menethil, also in Wrath of the Lich King. So he did the voice lines, even for the cinematic. I'm not going to watch that. I'm just going to do the intros for this, but that's pretty cool. Oh, so he did. And I was curious. Maybe I'll do those if maybe at some point I'll do those. But he also narrated the cat. I'm guessing he narrated the Cataclysm intros because they changed them in Cataclysm. I'm going to watch the classic ones that he made in 2004, 2003. Um, really, just towards the end, it was really just World of Warcraft. That's cool. They just used him for like narration, Ikema the Wise, Maltharion. So he basically voice line for Warcraft to Legion. That's a bummer. I wish he did some of the voice acting for the newer allied races. I think now they're Varian. I think the Varian voice actor, actually, I don't know who he is either, but I think he voice acts the newer ones. Um, Anyways, let's switch to the game, and I'll start watching the. Here we go. So yeah, um, I made one of each race for the 8 main iconic races, and this is classic. This is Wrath of the Lich King classic, and I thought I would just kind of watch these and reminisce and listen to his voice again. Um, Here we go. So I'll start with the human. Start with the alliance, human paladin, of course. Let's do it. And hopefully the audio is pretty good. I checked everything, but let's watch. Damn.
The noble humans of Stormwind are a proud, tenacious race. Though the recent invasion of the demonic Burning Legion decimated their sister kingdom of Lordaeron, the defenders of Stormwind stand vigilant against any who would threaten the sanctity of their lands. Nestled in the foothills of Elwyn Forest, Stormwind City is one of the last bastions of human power in the world. Ruled by the Child King Anduin Wrynn, the people of Stormwind remain
Still around.
steadfast in their commitment to the Grand Alliance. Backed by their stalwart allies, the armies of Stormwind have been called away to fight the savage horde on distant battlefields. With the armies gone, the defense of Stormwind now falls to its proud citizens. You must defend the kingdom against the foul mongrels that encroach upon it, and hunt down the subversive traitors who seek to destroy it from within. Now is the time for heroes. Now humanity's greatest chapter can be told.
His voice, man. So iconic. Oh, yep, all my add-ons. But yeah, that was... I think this is the first... I actually think the human one is the first one. I think my first character I ever made in WoW back in 2005 was a human... was funny enough, a human warrior. I didn't last long with the human warrior. Because I find humans boring. But I do think it was one of the first ones I listened to of his voice acting, of the narration for the humans. Yeah, let's go on to the next one. But I do think... I think those intros and those narrations kind of hyping you up about your race, and like the story of starting off your story as your character race has always been very cool. Definitely, like, I remember just it just got you ready to like start leveling your character, and like, because the narrations for all of these at least classic characters is like you're like a nobody, you're just, but you know that you're a part of this bigger picture thing. It was just really cool back then. Dwarf. Dwarf Hunter. I kind of tried, for fun, I tried to theme the classes I picked off what would make sense for each race. So let's do the Dwarf.
The stoic dwarves of Ironforge spent countless generations mining treasures from deep within the earth. Hidden within their impregnable stronghold of Ironforge Mountain, they rarely ventured beyond the wintry peaks of Dunmora. Recently, however, the dwarves unearthed a series of ruins that held secrets to their ancient heritage. Driven to discover the truth about his people's fabled origins, the great king Magni Bronzebeard ordered that the dwarves shift their industry from mining to archaeology. As part of the Grand Alliance,
I don't remember that part.
stalwart dwarven armies have been called away to battle the merciless horde in faraway lands. In these perilous times, the defense of the Mountain Kingdom falls to brave dwarves like you. The spirits of the ancient kings watch over you, and the very mountains are your strength. The future of your people is in your hands.
Nice. So that was the dwarfs. It's interesting. I didn't remember. I love the dwarf starting area, by the way. I do think for the Alliance, it's one of my favorites. I just like I just love ice, like snowy zones, and just the dwarf story and lore. It's cool that you're like. Funny enough, in Dragonflight, we're kind of learning about the Titans again, right? And that's kind of the whole dwarf, as you like heard in the narration from Earl, was he was basically saying that, like, they were basically wanted to learn more about archaeology rather than focusing on mining. They want to learn more about the history of the dwarves and the Titans. So I thought that was pretty sweet. Yeah, it's crazy to listen to these again. His voice, man, like I said before, it's just stoic. It's just like when you think of like a fantasy. When you think of a fantasy narrator, he comes to mind every time, for me at least. It's so crazy to listen to these again. And what's next? The Night Elf Druid. So funny enough, Night Elf Druid was the first one I did get to 60 way back in 2005. So I definitely think out of the Alliance races, Night Elves were my favorite. I love their backstory too and everything. Let's do it. Excuse me.
For 10,000 years, the immortal Night Elves cultivated a druidic society within the shadowed recesses of Ashenvale Forest. Yet recently, the catastrophic invasion of the Burning Legion shattered the tranquility of their ancient civilization.
Love this zone.
Led by the Arch-Druid Malfurion Stormrage and the priestess Tyrande Whisperwind, the mighty Night Elves rose to challenge the demonic onslaught. Though victorious, the Night Elves were forced to sacrifice their cherished immortality and watch their beloved forests burn. Seeking to regain their immortality, a number of wayward druids conspired to plant a special tree that would link their spirits to the eternal world. Despite Malfurion's warnings that nature would never bless such a selfish act, the druids planted the great tree Teldrassil off the stormy coasts of northern Kalimdor. Within the twilight boughs of the colossal tree, the wondrous city of Darnassus took root. However, the great tree was not consecrated with nature's blessing, and soon fell prey to the corruption of the Burning Legion. Now the wildlife, and even the limbs of the great tree itself, are tainted by a growing darkness. As one of the few Night Elves still left in the world, it is your sworn duty
Few
to
Night Elves left in the world,
Darnassus
interesting.
and the wild children of nature against the Legion's encroaching corruption.
Dang, man, listening to these again, like you pick up some lore and stuff I don't remember at all. I guess the Night Elves were few in numbers even back then. Because I know, after the burning of Teldrassil, when was it? With back in BFA, I knew there was a lot less Night Elves then, but I guess even back in Classic WoW there weren't as many, maybe as other races. And I also didn't realize that the tree was not blessed, but I thought it was blessed, or like that's why it grew, but I guess it wasn't blessed. Like they just kind of planted it, and that's why there's all these demons and corruption on the tree. Some of this stuff, like maybe I just forgot, or anyways, that one was awesome. That's probably my favorite Alliance intro, just because I just think the Night Elf War is cool. So yeah, let's do the last Alliance, the Gnomes. I actually don't remember. I never played a Gnome, so I don't even know if maybe I watched it once. Back, 15, 20. It's crazy that he recorded these 20 years ago, 2003 probably or something. No mage. Let's do it.
The eccentric, often brilliant gnomes are held as one of the most peculiar races of the world. With their obsession for developing radical new technologies and constructing marvels of mind-bending engineering, it's a wonder that any gnomes have survived to proliferate. Over the years, the gnomes have contributed ingenious weapons to aid the Grand Alliance in its fierce battles against the Horde. Thriving within the wondrous techno-city of Gnomragon, the gnomes shared the resources of the forested Dumora peaks with their dwarven cousins. Yet recently, a barbaric menace rose up from the bowels of the earth and invaded Gnomragon. Aided by their dwarven allies, the gnomes fought a valiant battle to save their beloved city. Nevertheless, Gnomragon was irrevocably lost. The surviving gnomes fled to the safety of the dwarven stronghold of Ironforge. There they remain, devising strategies to retake their city. As a gnome of proud standing, it falls to you to answer the challenge and lead your curious people to a brighter future.
Oh, someone else here. I'm on I picked an empty server or quiet server. So that was the gnome one. I don't think I've heard that in 20 years. It's interesting. I really do think they were just trying to save some time and have the gnomes. I mean, I guess the gnomes and dwarves lived together, but I always thought it was interesting that the gnomes and the trolls, had the same starting experience as another race. But it kind of makes sense to club them together because they kind of lived right next to each other. And I know in Cataclysm they definitely gave them more of their own starting. Like they don't start with the same quest giver and everything. They have their, they start over here or something. But there we go. Now on to the Horde. I think out of the Horde intros, the Tauren one is my favorite. Funny enough, Night Elf, Tauren are my two at least in classic World of Warcraft, those are my two favorite races. I just like the naturey races, I guess. I don't know. I just think they're cool. But let's start with the orc warrior. And it's funny. It does seem like the human and the orc, if I remember correctly, had the longer intros because they're kind of like the, I wouldn't say main characters, but they had the most lore, because they Warcraft 2, 3, they were kind of big players. So let's do it.
Long ago, the Orcish horde was corrupted by the Burning Legion and lured to the world of Azeroth. For generations, the Orcs made war upon the human kingdoms of Stormwind and Lordaeron. Though the horde was ultimately defeated, a visionary young war chief named Thrall rose to lead his people in their darkest hour. Under Thrall's rule, the Orcs freed themselves from the chains of demonic corruption and embraced their shamanistic heritage. After years of wandering, the Orcs founded their own kingdom in the harsh wastelands of Durotar. Based in the warrior city of Orgrimmar, they stand ready to destroy all who would challenge their supremacy. As a proud defender of Durotar, it is your duty to crush your enemies, both seen and unseen. For the nefarious agents of the Burning Legion still wander the land.
Nice. Funny enough, I forgot that a lot of them were, Burning Legion was very relevant back then, right? Now that we've kind of defeated them in Legion, it's interesting that a lot of the narrations and stories talk about the Burning Legion being the main threat, which makes sense. And I guess it's fun listening to these again, just getting more lore background. It was with his beautiful stoic, I'll say it the third time, voice, was that they brought their shamanistic knowledge to the horde. I thought the Tauren were pretty shamanistic too. Or did the orcs teach the Tauren, or the Tauren teach the orcs? I don't know, but I forget that. I'm not, like I said, I know the lore, but I'm not like a war buff. I just kind of know the main story of Warcraft. All right, so I think who's next? I think the Undead. Funny enough, I don't think I really know the Undead intro either, because I made an Undead back in the Wrath of the Lich King, but I made a Death Knight, right? So they have the Death Knight intro. So I actually don't really know the Rogue one. So this will be fun to listen to. I don't remember this one at all.
Bound to the iron will of the tyrant Lich King, the vast undead armies of the Scourge seek to eradicate all life on Azeroth. Led by the Banshee Sylvanas Windrunner, a group of renegades broke away from the Scourge and freed themselves of the Lich King's domination. Known by some as the Forsaken, this group fights a constant battle, not only to retain its freedom from the Scourge, but also to slaughter those who would hunt them as monsters. With Sylvanas as their Banshee Queen, the Forsaken have built a dark stronghold beneath the ruins of Lordaeron's former capital city. This hidden Undercity forms a sprawling labyrinth that stretches beneath the haunted woods of the Tirisfal Glades. Though the very land is cursed, the zealous humans of the Scarlet Crusade still cling to their scattered holdings, obsessed with eradicating the undead and retaking their homeland. Convinced that the primitive races of the Horde can help them achieve victory over their enemies, the Forsaken have entered an alliance of convenience. Harboring no true loyalty for their new allies, they will go to any lengths to ensure their dark plans come to fruition.
Ooh, man, there's some cinematography in this one's cool.
You must massacre any who pose a threat to the new order. Human, undead, or otherwise.
Neat. I will say that, like, the cinematography for that one was really cool. Like, the way you fall down to a crypt and kind of spawning from a crypt. Yeah, I don't remember that one at all. It was interesting that they brought it to Scarlet Crusade and I mean, right, they're a threat for the undead, and um, I know that's a storyline, but it's cool that they brought it up during the intro. Um, and of course, Sylvanas, back when she was cool. I don't want to hear her name in a while after Shadowlands, but she was cool back in Classic, and I know that they talked about like an alliance of just like benefactors, right? And I know the funny thing, the cool little neat thing about the undead is I think they're the only race where, at least back in Classic, where a lot of their allies were just neutral instead of friendly, except for Silvermoon, the Blood Elves. But because Warcraft 3, they weren't really a part of the Warcraft 3, and they weren't really a part of the Horde. They were just kind of their own thing. But that one was cool. I like that one a lot. Um, yeah, and I don't know when the last time I listened to that one. Um, like I think I have listened to all of these way back in the day, but I feel like I would have just done that on my own, just listened to these, just the ones that I didn't like, the races that I didn't play. But that one was cool. Tauren, all right, Tauren Shaman. This one, I remember this one well. I've made a lot of Tauren. Definitely more post Cataclysm. I've made more Tauren, so I actually don't remember that first, the classic cinematic as well.
Once a nomadic people, the Tauren roamed
The music.
the endless plains of the Barrens, hunting the mighty Kodo. Scattered across the land, the wandering tribes were united only by their common hatred for their sworn enemy, the marauding Centaur. Seeking aid against the Centaur, the great chieftain Cairn Bloodhoof befriended the savage orcs who had recently journeyed to Kalimdor. With the orcs' help, Cairn and his tribe were able to drive back the Centaur and claim the grasslands of Mulgore for their own. Upon the wind-swept mesa of Thunder Bluff, Cairn built a refuge for his people. Over time, the scattered tribes united under a single banner. Though the noble Tauren are peaceful in nature, the rites of the Great Hunt are venerated as the heart of their spiritual culture. As a tribesman of Mulgore, you must test your skills in the wild and prove yourself in the Great Hunt.
Damn. Man, I will say, I mean, I have one more to watch. I'm pretty sure this is my favorite intro. I just love I'm a Tauren fanboy, I guess. I just like their zone, their story, their heritage, their culture. It's funny, it's ironic they talk about the Centaur, and we're kind of dealing with them in Dragonflight too. Well, a different branch of Centaur, I guess. But one thing I always wished was if they ever did do like another Azeroth expansion, kind of like going back to the roots, I would have loved like a real storyline between the Tauren and the Centaur, like the bad Centaur, I guess, like an actual kind of make it a whole story for maybe this zone and another zone. If they ever like revamped or something, or we went back to Mulgar for some story or something. Um, I always just thought that was a cool war battle tidbit. And I think back in Cataclysm they added this like Tauren, what am I saying, like Tauren Gate or something, and there was supposed to be like a quest or lore there, but it never happened. At least that's what I remember. Anyways, awesome, loved it. We got one more to do. It's the Trolls. I don't think I know the Trolls one very well either, because I think I've said that about most of these. It's been so long since I've listened to any of these. Yeah, because I don't really play Classic WoW that much. I just wanted to listen to the original ones he recorded way back about 20 years ago. Roll Priest, let's do it.
The vicious trolls that populate the numerous jungle isles of the South Seas are renowned for their cruelty and dark mysticism. Barbarous and superstitious, they carry a seething hatred for all other races. Long since exiled from its ancestral homeland in Stranglethorn Vale, the Darkspear tribe was nearly destroyed by rampaging Murlocs. Rescued by the young war chief Thrall and his orcish warriors, the Darkspear tribe swore allegiance to the Horde.
The Murlocs kicked him
Led by
out?
the cunning shadow hunter Vol'jin, the Dark Spears now make their home in Durotar, along with their orcish allies. As one of the only surviving Dark Spears, it falls to you
Huh.
to reclaim the glory of your tribe.
Wow, yeah, I don't remember that one at all. I I almost like thought it was funny. Like, I think the trolls were a cool race, but I did not realize that they were kicked out of Stranglethorn from Murlocs. You know, those little things like the size of gnomes. I didn't realize that. That's kind of funny actually. I mean, it makes them kind of sad. I don't know. Like, yeah, I guess they're like a weak. I mean, they're not a weak race, but it's just funny. And then they also mentioned in the narration that he was the dark spirit trolls were kind of like there weren't many of them left, kind of like the night elves. I didn't. That's interesting. Like war wise, that there technically weren't a lot of them left, at least at this point. Um, but yeah, that those were the 8 original. I'll switch screens here back to Earl Boen. Um, but yeah, I thought that was kind of nostalgic and fun to do that. Rest in peace. And I think the coolest thing about actors and voice actors, you know, voice or regular actors is, you know, I know you can't really say it's not immortalized. It is immortalized. Like your voice is going to be in this game forever. Well, until the servers are shut down. But you know what I mean? Like long past you're gone, people will still remember your name, your voice. His voice, I'll never forget as long as I live. So I thought I would do this little in memory of thing, and I hope hope you guys enjoyed it, and maybe it was fun watching the original 8 narrations from him once more. Maybe at some point I'll listen to these again, or you know, maybe at some point I'll do the Cataclysm ones because he voiced those too. But yeah, that was all I wanted to make this video about. Oh my gosh, this went on long, but the intros are a little bit longer than I remember. Um, yeah, I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.